Hi everyone, this is Sarah from Sassy, and I am bringing you my horror book haul. So these are all the horror books that I have accumulated since August of 2016 up until now in June 2017. I have 6 horror novels. Some of these are huge. The majority of them, though, are guess what author. Who is like the most famous horror author ever? Like, he has like 75 books, maybe not that many, or maybe that many, I don't know. Who do you think? I mean, obviously Stephen King, right? So yeah, I have actually read one Stephen King novel that I have in the stack, which is pretty good, so you know, that's great. I've actually been reading a lot of Stephen King this last year, since the start of 2017. I think I've read 4 novels by him, and I'm currently reading The Stand by Stephen King. I bought this book a long time ago, and it is massive, but I'm actually on page 425, and I'm like flying through this. I can read like 100 pages in a day, and I don't feel bogged down by it. It's really good, really fun, highly recommend it. Go check it out. I'll be talking about this more later, but you know, I want people to read this now, so go get it. And so the first book I read this book forever ago, like back when I was in high school or middle school, and I loved it. So I bought myself a copy. It is called My Life as a White Trash Zombie by Diana Rowland. Like, look at how badass this cover is. I love it. I just love the colors with the pink, purple. Her hair is so badass, and then she's got fingers sticking out of, oh, it's a cigarette. She's got cigarettes and blood coming out of her mouth. It's really cool. It follows, what's her name? It doesn't say. What is her name? Oh, Angel, of course. It says it like right here at the top. Angel Crawford is a loser. But Angel, she comes from like the swamps of Louisiana, and you know, she ends up overdosing and becoming a zombie, and then she has to work as a mortician because, you know, where else are you going to get those brains from? And she's also solving crimes because, you know, this is it's horror, but it's also kind of urban fantasy. And most urban fantasies that for the adult genre consist of police investigators. I don't know why, it's just that's usually the case. But I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 stars when I read it a long time ago. I want to reread this and continue on with the series because I think there's 7 or 8 books, and I'm really interested in picking them up. Plus, these covers are bad freaking ass. Look at them. Oh, I love them. The next book I have is one that I read and one that I have a review for, and I'll leave the link for that in the description. It is The Derived A Dreams by Stephen King. Also, a gorgeous cover. Like, oh my gosh, listen to that book flop. Anyway, this is a pretty chunky book, but don't be scared of chunky Stephen King novels because this is a short story collection of, I think, 22 or 23 short stories. I give the whole collection 4 stars. There were a lot of 5-star reads in here. It's my personal favorite Stephen King short story collection that I've read thus far, and I highly recommend checking it out. I love the noise that this book makes. I don't know, sometimes I just do this with my books because I like to hear like the sounds that they make. I'm weird. The next book is one that I'm currently listening to on audiobook, and I'm excited because today I figured out which page I'm on. I'm on page 298. Look, it's got like this really nice, and it's all fancy. It's called Dracula by Bram Stoker. I mean, you probably have never heard of Dracula before. Like, no one has heard of Dracula before. You know, he didn't become the greatest, you know, vampire of all time and set off a whole new genre within horror movies and literature, you know. Just kidding. It's actually pretty good. I consider the first half to be the best half, the one where Jonathan Harker is going into Dracula's castle and you're just kind of getting his diary. I think that's the creepiest part of this, and I enjoy it. I've been listening to this audiobook since September, but that's okay because I'm a slow audiobook listener, but I am enjoying it. And the part that I just read today, it was intense. It was so intense. I was like, oh my gosh. The next book I have, I don't know whether to put this in the fantasy or the sci-fi or horror, but it sounds horrifying to me, so I'm putting Needful Things by Stephen King in the horror genre. This follows a town, Castle Rock, Maine, a lot of Stephen King's books are set in Castle Rock. And there is a shop called Needful Things. See, the shop? I love this cover. I love these editions of, like, seriously, buy these. They're not like mass market paperback, but they're not like the high paperbacks. These are so nice, and I just love how they look. They're sleek. Anyway, this follows a story about called Needful Things, and people in the town are getting their wishes granted. And we all know how that goes. Like, when people make wishes, does it ever go good? Like, have y'all seen that episode of The Twilight Zone where the man and that woman, they're like an older couple? It's not a genie. Is it death? I think, no. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while. But they end up asking to be rich, and then they, like, give all their money away. And then, you know, the tax collectors come and they're like, oh, well, you owe this much in taxes. And they're like, we've already given it all away. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, you owe this because you've acquired this money, so you have to pay your taxes. I'm sure this is kind of going to be like that. And, you know, I've been spoiled on the villain in here, but you know what, I know people kind of bash the villain and say it's silly, but you know, I kind of like it and I dig it, and I like, you know, supernatural, so I'm good. Like, Stephen King can kind of throw in some silly stuff and I'll be good with it. I'm excited to read this one. I don't know when I'll get to it because I have like 17 Stephen King novels, but I am excited for it. The next one I have is, guess who it is again? I don't know. Stephen King. Basically, my whole horror genre book haul is Stephen King. This one is Doomakey, and this one follows a man named Edgar Fremantle who he's slowly his memory he's slowly losing his memory. Sarah, you cannot talk today. And so he leaves his hometown and he moves to Doomakey, Florida, and he begins painting and sketching again. And it says, now Edgar paints, sometimes feverishly, his exploding talent both a wonder and a weapon. And I like the sound of that. Ooh, I never noticed the back. This is pretty. So this is a hardcover. Usually I don't buy hardcover Stephen King novels because when I first started reading them, I read it in the first edition hardcover. It was so heavy, like, y'all, little 6th grade Sarah had skinny arms. I still have skinny arms, but could you imagine even skinnier arms carrying around a 1,000-page hardcover? The thing was heavy. But I got this for 50 cents at a library sale on campus, and I was like, it's Stephen King. So that's why I have that one. And I am looking forward to reading that one. Sorry if my camera shakes, you guys. I'm on, like, my vanity, and sometimes my vanity shakes, like, I just can't help it. But I also have From a Buick 8, also by Stephen King, and you guys, look at this. I didn't know that this was in here. Also 50-cent book. But you guys, wait. It's a signed Stephen King poster and a 50-cent book in a first edition. Like, yes, I hit the jackpot over here. And, like, I love it. Now, here's the struggle. How do I close it? Okay. So this one follows a family who, I think the father collects Buicks. I don't know if these Buicks come to life. They probably don't. But that's okay. I'm kind of okay with not knowing what this is about because I kind of like to go into his, like, less famous novels. I mean, I didn't even know really what The Stand was about besides the fact that it had to do with a virus because, you know, I have read the short story in Night Shift that kind of connects to The Stand. Now that I'm actually reading The Stand, I see how it connects, even though I didn't really like that short story very much. But it's really interesting and fascinating. And this is one that I'm kind of okay with going into as blind as well as Doomakey. So yeah, let's just line up these books. And so let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know if these are any of your favorite horror novels. Recommend me some horror novels that I should buy because I love to buy horror novels. It's so much fun to go into the bookstore and just buy horror novels. And so yeah, look, these are all the books that I've got. They're actually quite chunky. You know, horror novels are very big. So let me know down below in the comments what you think of this book haul, and I hope to see you there. Bye!